Alrighty, so I have to go to my old laptop again because I guess I don't know why it's doing this now, but my main computer, my main laptop, it keeps picking up the fan on my microphone and it keeps messing up the audio, so we'll just have to do with old laptop for now. But anyways, so this is writing tips with Rawr. Today I wanted to go into a little bit of describing an emotion. And sometimes well, everyone has emotions, right? And your characters are gonna have emotions, right? Sometimes saying the emotion kind of gets a little redundant, a little bland. It's kind of like, okay, we get it. Like, you're afraid. We get it. You have this emotion, right? So I found it that it's a little more humanizing. Sorry if I have a cat. She needs something that I cannot give her. But it like humanizes. I find it when you describe an emotion, and not only does it do that, like it elevates your story with your characters and everything, makes them more realistic. But it's also a nice challenge. Like instead of just using the word anxiety, joy, anger, sadness, confused, fear, it kind of gives you a challenge of like, okay, what does it do to your body physically when you have anxiety, when you have an anxiety attack? Um, what kind of thoughts are running around in your mind when you have a panic attack? Or what kind of thoughts do you have when you're feeling joyful, feeling happy? It's a challenge and it can bump up your word count, which is always a good thing. Sometimes, like sometimes we don't need to bump up our word count. Sometimes we need to cut words. But anyways, that's a different video. This cat is threatening to jump on my lap, and last time she did that, she tore open my skin on my leg. Get away from me. Anyways, I'm feeling a little anxious about this cat being here. So one way that I do to describe an emotion is I think of how I would feel in that moment, how that emotion makes me feel, like what it does to my body physically, what kind of thoughts I have, and it's a slippery slope when you use other people's experiences with these emotions, especially if we're talking about anxiety or depression, because those are disorders slash diseases. But like there are some things where like these are actual issues that people deal with, and they may feel like you confide in them. So like you can use like resources from other people who have these experiences, but and this is a different video that I want to get into, but like just like be considerate. Like don't use don't use those experiences from other people like for the sake of content. And again, that's a different video. I'm gonna take a sip of this new berry Viking monster juice flavor to keep my throat moist. I don't like this flavor. Excuse me. Anyway, so let's start with describing anxiety. How would I personally, as Rawr, the author, describe anxiety? Well, when I, depending on what's going on, anxiety feels different from me. But I'll use one occasion where I was helping someone with beta reading. I was a beta reader for someone who was writing their first novel, and kind of ended up being their contributor. But In that particular moment, this is how I would feel like that anxiety attack would get me. This is sometimes how anxiety would get me, especially growing up. It felt like I was being, or oops, numlock. Felt like my body was being crushed by the, I could say, air or atmosphere, if I can remember how to spell them. Atmosphere, air. I couldn't look anywhere but forward. And this also can like depend on your writing style. So I tend to be a little more descriptive, a little more like flowy. That's my writing style. And but yeah, like I try to put in as much information as I can in a short sentence. A sentence that's like maybe 7 words, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11. Like around a sentence that's like around 10 words, I try to put in as much information. That's my writing style. But again, that's a different video. And Kat says, meow, I agree. Can look anywhere but forward. And want to find out what would happen. I strayed from the path. And I could probably split those into 2 different sentences. Probably. Let's do that. That feels a little more like how I feel anxiety. And this is again, like this is how I feel anxiety. Maybe you feel anxiety a different way. Maybe you know someone who would describe anxiety a different way. But this is how generally, when I have these moments, and depending on the situation, this is one way how I feel it. Another way that I feel anxiety, or when I feel anxious, is my shoulders feel light and my legs start moving on their own. I can't control why because of the thoughts swirling in my head. Please do not mind the cat. She wants something that I can't give her. So that's usually the moment when I feel anxious. That's another way. Let's go to joy. When I feel joy, her body felt light, like oh, light, like a feather as she skipped through the field. She knew that the sun smiling on her that day. Oop. Oop. I did it again. Little feet. No. Bubbles are of a sensation bubbling in her chest. That's what joy feels like to me. So just like sometimes you can just like sit down with that emotion and think, okay, what does it feel like for me? Or maybe, what does it feel like for this character? What would it feel like for this character? Let's do anger. Let's do. Let's get a little serious. Um, his face so hot that it could explode. And this can go into what it does to our bodies. Like, how does our bodies physically react to this emotion? So, like, his fists clenched, clenched at the sight, knowing there was thing he could. Music can also go get into why they're feeling that emotion. Like, there's nothing he can do about it. All he could do is watch, and maybe like he's watching a friend being I can't say, but like, like corporate punishment kind of thing that is illegal in America now. I can't say the word out of guidelines. That word, like maybe he's watching a friend and this is happening to them. Excuse me, how to take a numbered sip. Or so like this is more like a quiet rage, but maybe it's like a little more dramatic. Like maybe he's tearing up the place. He couldn't take it anymore. There. Oops, I keep thinking that's my space. And before realized what was in oh, chair in his hand, thrown across the room. Maybe that's what's going on. Or maybe they black out in rage. Next thing he knew, he was on the ground with four men trying to pin him down. Maybe they black out. Okay. Let's try sadness. Let's see how we can describe sadness. Let's see. When I feel sad, my body feels heavy. Kind of heavy. Comes. Oh, I can smell. And this is probably borderline depression. Someone waits on my limbs. Maybe that's what's going on. Hi, cat. Hi, cat. Hi, cat. Confused. Kind of goes with the second paragraph I did for anxiety. Because of the thoughts swirling in my head. It was more like with confused, I'll usually like ask questions. I'll have the character ask questions. Oop. None of this me. And ask her it being go alone. Like, go to the prom alone. Um, I'm just putting quotations. uh, let's see, what else can I do for confused? Uh, fear. Sorry if you can hear my bird. All the animals are just talking because they hear me talking. And the dog. No, dog, there's nothing going on. No, doggy, there's no go. You just have to deal with it. Come here, dog. All the animals go crazy because I'm doing something. Anyways, dog! Come here! There's nothing going on. I promise you. This has to happen while I'm recording. Anyways. Yes, now you know my daily life. Fear. You try to shrink away as the horror is revealed to them. So they're probably looking at a monster. It's like, oh my gosh, that is something I don't want to deal with. And that's my physical reaction. Shrink away. Make myself small. But all the animals are going insane, so I have to leave you there. um so yeah, that's one thing you can do if you're writing your story feels a little bland, it needs a little something, a little emotion. That's one way to get something done, is just to describe an emotion. What is the character feeling? And like, just try your best to describe that emotion without using the word of that emotion. Like, I'm not trying to say anxiety, I want to show what it feels like. And this can help a lot with someone who probably doesn't have anxiety attacks, probably doesn't have depression or anger issues. Like if they don't have those kind of problems, or they don't tend to, this could also help expand your audience and help those people understand the people understand those who have anxiety attacks, who have anger issues, who have depression. So, like, that's also a connection between members of your audience, between your readers, your individual readers. That is also why this technique is so powerful, or at least I feel like it. And I'm running up on time, and hopefully this helps you with something. So hopefully this bumps up your word count, and I will leave you to it. Goodbye.